Hi, we have author Shamika here with us, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her book. She's going to tell us a little bit about herself and also where we can purchase her book.
Yes, yes, yes. So I am Shamika. I am actually a licensed professional counselor, and I have a private practice up in Sugar Hill, Georgia. And I have three books actually, and they're kids' books that I wrote. What I found was some years back, maybe about, it's been like 10 years now. I had a cousin that was killed, and he had a 3-year-old son. And I was looking for books on grief. And, I'm thinking I'm a counselor. I should be able to find stuff. I do this all the time, right? And because I use books in therapy a lot. And so I said, I'm looking, and I could not find anything with kids of color talking about grief. It's animals, but are just not kids of color. So I said, I'm going to write my own book. And that's literally how this thing started. The
Nice.
book that I wanted to focus on today it's called Just Jkrox. So I don't use my name as the author. My author name is Jkrox because around the same time that my cousin was killed, 2 years prior to that, my mom transitioned. And I wanted to do something in their honor, so something to commemorate them. So my mom's name was Karen. My cousin's name was Jonathan. So then from that came like they rock, they're cool. And immediately I said, oh, Just Jkrox. It's a bullying book. We have to talk about bullying. So that's what Just Jkrox, I don't know if you can see it, is a story about bullying. So my thing is, it's not pretty. It's not, we don't have all of the answers, but just giving kids the tools to kind of process and think through stuff. So in the book, it talks about this boy that's getting bullied by another boy. This is like first year at this school. So he's getting bullied by this one kid in the school, and the other kids kind of tag in. And in the middle of the book, the kids have to decide, it's three different scenarios. And they have to pick the scenario that best fits. Like, what do they think is going to happen? And then so either the reader, like who's reading it with them, it could be a parent, a teacher, whoever, can kind of walk them through, okay, well, why did you choose that scenario, and talk about it. So it gives talking points throughout. And then always at the end of every book, I have like an activity that they can do that goes along with that book. Oh, and you said, where can you find it? So my my website is on www.justhealcounseling.com, and under bibliotherapy you can find the books, and as well as they're on Amazon. You can just search Just Jkrox book.
Okay. You said you wrote three books, right?
Yes, so the first book was the grief book, and it's called When Daddy's Gone. And it's about a kid who loses his dad. And the same thing, it gives you a tool at the end that they can use to create memories for dad. Or what I've told some people too, you can kind of read it two ways. You can read it, the dad doesn't have to have died, he can be gone. And so you can, it's like one little part in there that may have mentioned about death, and so you can leave that part out and still be able to discuss like what is it like when daddy's gone and how you can remember that person. And then again, it has like the activity at the end. The last one that we just wrote, and I say we, me and my son, my son's name is KJ, so again, to play on that whole JK stuff, his name is Khalil Jonathan. We wrote a book together, and I was pregnant with my daughter, and so we wanted to write just a funny little rhyming book for kids, and it's called The Surprising Side. And so it just talks about just what's inside of my belly. I'll just read one little thing. It's, my belly is growing, but it's not getting fat. My son seems to think I swallowed a cat. And I said, no, son, you must see it's as hard as can be, as hard as a ball and not wiggly at all. So it goes on just like different things like that. And it's funny and it's cute. And me and him wrote that together.
Now, what inspired you to start writing and keep writing, actually?
Being in the field and talking to the kids and wanting to have books that represent them, represent what they look like. So it's like, if I have the perfect tools in my head, why not put them to paper? And it
Right.
just made sense to be able to write things that I see coming up often, that I talk about often, and be able to write it in a way that kids can understand and giving their input in it as well.
That's good. Are you working on a fourth book?
I am. It's called Time's Up, but it's spelled Thyme. with all of the social unrest, I was like, how can I not write about this from a kid's perspective and what they see? Because I know, like I said, having my son and talking to him and keeping him informed. And sometimes I always tell people I probably talk to my child way too much, right? So I'm like, from his perspective, his little mind, how is he processing all the stuff that's going on? So I did want to write something from a kid's perspective on the social unrest. So it's called Time's Up. And how I got that title was in my office. I created a room. Like my dream is to have a bookstore, right? A kids bookstore. That's a whole nother like topic, but I want a kids bookstore. And so I said, okay, I can't do it right now. I have my private practice. So in one of the rooms, I have a room and I put story time. And so I spelled it THYME, so story time. And it's the having the courage to rewrite your story one word at a time. So I'm learning how to rewrite my story. Because even still in this interview, I still said that, oh, this came from my cousin died, my mama died. Like, it's just this, this heavy stuff. Like, how do I say, okay, I wanted to do this in their memory. I wanted to honor them. And so I wrote these books. So having the courage to rewrite your story. So when I said time's up, it's like having the courage to stand up. When do you know to stand up? So that's what the book is going to be about.
Nice. Well, congratulations. Are you self-published?
I am. Yes.
Okay. How was that journey? How was the process of getting started on being an author?
I'm gonna tell you, I was in the way. I'll say that. I was in my own way. How things happened were just so divine. My son was going to school and ended up talking to the owner there. We just started talking and I was telling her what I wanted to do. And she was like, oh, I have a publishing company. Like, you can just publish under me. What? And so she actually walked me through everything. So I was in my own way of not talking to people and telling people what I wanted to do. And even in the midst of that, I was like, I just want to get this book to my cousin. Like, I just want him to have this so he can have something to look at and understand and we can talk about. She was like, you need to share this with everybody. I was like, oh, okay. So really, I was in my own way. She really walked me through the whole process because she had already did it because she had a book that she ended up publishing under herself. So
that's a blessing because I know that journey can be rough,
I know it. Yes, I've heard stories, but I would have to say that I was really lucky. Monarch Avenue, shout out to Candace because she walked me through the entire process and made it easy.
That's great.
So don't keep your mouth closed. Open up and talk to people. You never know who's there to help you out through that process.
Definitely. What's your Instagram name?
Jkrox, Jkrox, and then I have one for Just Tell Counseling as well.
Okay. Thank you.
You are welcome. Thank you so much for having me and taking the time to do this. I greatly appreciate you.